How's it going, everyone? Nick Atkin here. It's a 170 recap and reaction show on a Monday night in Hong Kong. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I, yeah, I don't really have an excuse, but here I am. It's cold, so I'm wearing this jumper. Got off the plane from Bangkok on Sunday night yesterday, and I was wearing my usual get-up. If you watch my shows, if you watch my interviews, you know what I normally dress like when I'm working there. The colorful shirts, the shorts, the flip-flops. It was about 12 degrees or something Fahrenheit in Hong Kong. It was ice cold. It is again tonight. Another cold snap. So here we are. I'm toasty. I'm over here. We're going to get into the show. But how are you all doing? Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on 1172 and what you enjoyed. We're gonna recap the whole thing. I'm gonna try and get in and out of here in an hour, just because I'm quite tired. Still, I didn't sleep much at all the whole week. It was so busy. Oh my god, just nonstop from the moment I arrived to the moment I left. You can hear my voice pretty screwed. Yeah, it was a long week. I thought it was going to be an easy week, which is the funny thing. I was saying to everyone, "Oh, it's great. We got no Friday fights this week. It's just going to be the show, and it's on a Friday night, so we don't have to wake up early on Saturday." It was still just really long and tiring. Yeah, I'll get into it all, but yeah, what did we have? We had I had about 12 interviews, maybe more on Tuesday morning, was it? And then I had a few hours where I was just smashing out some of those videos. Then we went straight to the press conference, face-offs there. Then we did the thing was there was nothing on Wednesday, but I just spent the whole day editing video interviews and writing articles from the morning till midnight. Then Thursday was weigh-ins, 10 a.m. And we pretty much headed straight to Impact Arena for face-offs. Back to Tonglaw, did some more editing, and then whatever. Yeah, Friday morning, chilled a little bit, but I didn't chill. I just did more work, and I was pretty much uploading stuff to the moment I got to the arena. I was very lucky to get. I hopped in one of the vans because I was staying down the road from the Fight Hotel, and I tried my luck. I walked up to the Fight Hotel, and yeah, I got a ride with. I think I was with Lineker and the Estupinans, and maybe I can't remember. Yeah, if not, I may have been late because traffic was gridlocked. It was an early start time, 6:30, and everyone was obviously heading out of central Bangkok to that part. Well, a lot of people were. A lot of grabs were being difficult. They were canceling on people. I know multiple people who had tried to book 3 or 4 grabs, and after 10 minutes, they just cancel because the traffic was so bad. But yes, it was still worth it. I got there nice and early. As you may have seen from the behind the scenes episode 3, Giuliano and I were out there early with the fans, with the people. And then we got into it. It was a great show. Hang on, I've just forgotten to put the monetization on for there it is. Turning the money on so I can make my measly revenue from this podcast. There it is. I better add it to a playlist. Thank you for bearing with me. Wow. Okay, done. But yes, let's get into the show. I will show you some visual highlights via my Instagram page. So whatever I've got on there, we can watch because I don't want to get copyright strikes. Looking at one's footage, they've been a bit more serious with that lately, which is good. They should do because everyone it's so annoying. Everyone just posts. They rip the live feed footage and they post it, and they get hundreds of retweets, hundreds of shares, this and that. I go to the arenas, and sometimes I'm told I can't even post knockout footage or whatever, even though all these other accounts who aren't there are posting it. It gets on my nerves. But this time was fine. They didn't have any restrictions, so I got a few of the the knockouts, and we'll maybe if we go from the top down or the bottom up. That's the big question. Um, I wonder what does anyone want to do first? Yeah, I'll go from the bottom up. We'll climax with the Tawanchai stuff, I guess. So we'll start down with Freddy Haggerty and Jordan Estupinan. Now, this was a fun fight. I'm showing it on screen. I'm going to share my page. Here it is. So, two knockdowns. It's pretty loud, sorry. Two knockdowns for Estupinan. Haggerty came back. Haggerty came back pretty strong in the third round, but he had to, obviously, because he knew he was down. But yeah, he got caught twice in the second round and paid the price. Still thought it was a really good fight. And there was a bit of needle as well, I think, after the end of the first round, was it? Maybe the second, where Haggerty hit him after the bell, and then they had some verbal altercation. So I enjoyed it. And Freddie was very humble in defeat. Saw him in the hotel after. His face was pretty banged up, but I shook his hand and said, well done. It's a great fight. He'll be back. He knows he's been there before. He'll be back again. So yeah, Freddie Haggerty, Jordan Estupinan, I got to say, he was incredible. And I expected this. A lot of people were wondering whether he'd be as good as his brother. Some people told me he's better than his brother. So that's a scary thought. But they look pretty much the same, no pun intended, in terms of the style they fight. You'd expect that. They both train under JC Hernandez, I think. Yeah, and they both had John Lineker in their corner, which was funny. I didn't know, but yeah, I saw John Lineker turn up at the hotel on Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that, and I wondered why he was there. I thought maybe he's going to be used in this Beast in Me movie, maybe they flew in DJ for that. I thought it'd be a little strange to fly in Lineker from Brazil all the way for this film, but apparently he's now living in Bangkok. I heard that too. Not sure if it's true, but I've heard, yeah, he's moved out there, which I think is a smart move for him, because he's getting a lot of fights right now, a lot of Muay Thai fights at least. So why keep flying back and forth to Brazil? Anyway, not much else to say about that fight, so I'll move on up to the second fight on the card, which was everyone's favorite Burmese icon Tantzin getting TKO'd by Suriyanlek. 3 knockdowns in the second round. Here you can see on the screen. I thought he may survive. He's a tough old boy, isn't he, Tantzin? He's got a bit of a chin, but Suriyanlek hits super hard, and we know that. We've seen him on Friday fights. I think he's got a record amount of bonuses. He's even won bonuses when he's lost. That's how good he is and how entertaining he is. He's a small dude, but I love that he tried to climb the cage. He couldn't get out. Yeah, he's very small, like 5'3", something like that. But he's a dangerous guy. Good win for the Sanctanoi boys. Moses was very happy. The Burmese fans were not happy. A lot of them came out to the show. I think they kind of packed out the upper tier at Impact Arena, and they were very sad after this. Wasn't a good night for them. Yeah, So Linu also lost to Sexam. We'll get to that later. But shame for Suriyanlek, because if he had passed hydration, he would have got a 50K bonus, Mitch Chilson said. So yeah, it's pretty awkward in the ring after. But yeah, I feel for him. And it's weird because he was under the weight. He was like 2 pounds under, more than 2 pounds. But he just wasn't hydrated. So I don't know what went wrong. But yeah, they can hopefully fix it for next time. I'm sure we'll see Suriyanlek back soon on One Friday Fights. I wonder, would he have got a contract as well if he had if you had not missed the hydration, because it's possible. But you know, there'll always be another time for him. But yeah, his record is amazing. He's got how many fights? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 now. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. No, I held it. 10 fights, or 9 of them in Friday fights, and this was his first on a one championship show. But he was an uncontracted fighter, appearing on the prelims, so he's still uncontracted. But yeah, he's got 3 losses, 7 wins, and both of the losses were decisions. So yeah, and he's pretty much a knockout artist. Most of his wins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's only got 1 decision win, so everything else he's finished. He is a knockout machine. He has a great backstory as well. So good for Suriyanlek. Drinkwater says Sin was busy trying to go for the leg again and got check hooked. My man meme, there he is, my guy. I don't know what that means. Nicola says, "Hey Nick, was just watching all your post fights right now. Actually, great work keeping us informed behind the scenes." Yeah, thanks for that. I hope you enjoyed them. You can watch all my interviews on this channel. Don't do it now. Wait till after the show. Also, be sure to drop a like on this video here. Let's go. If you haven't subscribed and you're watching, please do subscribe. I think we hit up to went through 56,000 subs on YouTube last week. Something like that. Yeah, nearly at 57,000. Went up to 71,000 on Facebook. Hit 15K on Instagram. So it's pretty cool. Thanks for all your support, everyone. Power Pickle also saying hello. Some other fans here, some Burmese fans, I think, in the chat. What's up to you guys? He's won championship MMA dying. Lego X Art says. I can get into that later. Yeah, if you have any comments or thoughts on the show, just drop them in the chat. Try and keep it on whichever fight I'm doing. We're going from the bottom of the card, and I'll get to Tawanchai at the end. But yeah, I have a few interviews. I didn't get many interviews after the show. Only 3. I was running back and forth, up and down like 3 flights of stairs to get some of these interviews. I got Masaaki, Noiri, Suriyanlek, and the Estupinan twins together. That was a really fun one. I was meant to get Marcelo Garcia, but he just walked off, went to do something, and then never saw him again. Then he turned up at the post-fight presser, so it was all good. I asked him a question there. Yeah, I have the post-fight press conference on my channel as well, and yeah, we got who did we have there? Tawanchai, Nabil, Marcelo, and Fabricio. So yeah, these big numbered events, I don't get as many interviews as usual because they have that press conference at the end with 4 or 5 people usually. So you have to sit through and watch those. You don't get as many from me, but I'll be back there in a week with some pre-fight interviews for Fight Night 28. So if you need your fix, you can get it then. Kyle Diamond in the chat saying, such a fun card. Give me a shout if you want a co-host. I do, Kyle. I do. I'm gonna DM Kyle a message. How do I find him? There he is. All right, Kyle, consider yourself the co-host. You missed the prelims. Or let's get into the main card. Aniki, meaning big bro in Japan, Moi man meme. Okay, I thought it was a play on John Anik from the UFC, but I'll take both of those. I think they're both compliments. Drinkwater says, I couldn't believe it was up for free. I was prepared to pay for the pay-per-view. Yeah, I didn't even think like whether it was a pay-per-view or not. I just kind of, because I was there, I wasn't paying attention. But I think Chatri and Juan just wanted as many eyes as possible on the show. That was the plan. So they just went for it, made it free for everyone. And you're seeing they broke viewership records in Thailand. They're saying the TV rating was huge, like 5.0. I think that's one of their biggest, if not their biggest TV rating they've had on Channel 7. Not sure what the Rodtang Superlek rating was. Maybe I could find out. Let's see if Google has that. Yeah, I wrote an article about it when I was still at SCMP. I've just pulled that up. Hmm. No, I can't really find it. Wow, maybe it was as big as that or bigger. I don't know. Can't be bothered to dig any deeper. All right. Very good rating anyway, 5.0. It's a Nielsen rating, so it sort of means like a 5 it means 5% of the available households with a TV watched it, which is pretty good going. So you're thinking, I think that's how it works for that. It means millions of people basically. And then the online viewership was, they said, 60% up from their previous record high of online viewers. So all in all, very good numbers. What the hell, YouTube? Where was my notification? Just sorry, I did that thing again where I set the timer 15 minutes before I started. So unless it's 20 minutes out, you don't get a notification. It's okay, Chester. You've only missed the first 2 fights. I'm going up from bottom to top. So, but here is Kyle. Welcome back, Kyle. Been a while since we did a show. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, I don't think we've done one since Sportskeeda days. So I think we're overdue. Your first appearance on my personal channel, right?
Yeah, absolutely. First, it might be the last as well. I don't know. I start my new job next week, and I don't know how that changes things. But hopefully, it won't be. I would love to.
Yes.
Love to come
Well,
back.
you told me about this new job. I don't know if you're able to tell anyone else, but if you can, please divulge.
Yeah, I posted it on my socials today anyway to say that I'm not doing freelance anymore, so I won't be doing one championship coverage for Sportskeeda anymore, but I will still be doing some one coverage for Bloody Elbow instead, which is where I'm going. So I just haven't had a chance to speak to them about me doing other things that I used to do, so I need to get to that at some point, but we'll work it out. I'm sure.
Let me know if you can come back. I'd love to have you again. The dream team is reunited.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but what a card to come back with, though.
Yeah, general thoughts on the card. I know you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you book 3 title fights and they all end with finishes, you can't go wrong. You kind of, to an extent, obviously you can put together these great cards and then you kind of just leave it up to fate as to however they deliver. And those fights certainly delivered a ton of good performances and fun fights on the rest of the card. I think it probably helped that it was pretty Muay Thai heavy. It always feels like the best one cards that we get over the last, I don't even know, at least a year, if not longer. They tend to be pretty Muay Thai dominant, the best cards. So I think that played a part of it. But yeah, really, really, really fun card though, and I think all of the matchups delivered.
Yeah, I'll give my thoughts overall at the end. I'll answer this question. Alive Bread saying, "Hi Nick, do you have any info why every Muay Thai fighter in one now wears Fairtex shorts? Is a custom or own gym shorts no longer allowed? Superbon used to wear Singer, either Nico or Fairtex. Not his gym. Yeah, so there's a new deal in One Championship with Fairtex, a la Venom and UFC. I thought it was just for Friday fights, to be honest. I didn't know it would extend to this numbered event or, Prime Video shows. So we'll see if it does continue next week at Fight Night 28. But yeah, there is a new deal with Fairtex where every fighter has to wear Fairtex shorts. And any gear they wear out, even the corners are wearing Fairtex gear. Which is crazy when you see, Nabil's boys, obviously they're Venom and Mehdi Zatu is wearing a Fairtex shirt. It's kind of funny. I think you can customize them a little bit with a badge. I'm not sure, but it is what it is, right? One is getting presumably a nice chunk of change from Fairtex to be the exclusive partner. Kyle, it does kind of take away some of that fun with customization and sponsorships as well. Fighters aren't able to get sponsors. It seems that's a big issue, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think just like in terms of I kind of get it on one point of the visual appearance, making everything seem a little bit more, like you said, there are other major promotions that do this and they do it for a reason. It makes it look more like other sports, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I expected there to be a little bit more variation, like considering that Fairtex have a lot of different designs and things like that. I felt like I don't know how much of a catalog the fighters had to choose from, or whether they got assigned certain things or whatever. But it felt a little bit samey, and I expected it to be. I was quite optimistic about it because I thought at least they'll keep maybe some of the more individual stuff about it, so certain fighters will still have a little bit more personality with what they're able to choose from and things. But it did feel a little bit more uniformy than I expected it to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Tetsuya is saying it's only going to apply to 170 outside of Friday fights. So I guess they'll be able to customize their kit next week and in Japan and things like that. I thought it looked cool, but if you lose that element of sponsorships, that can hurt a fighter. And I don't know. I wonder if they get a percentage of it. I doubt it. So it's kind of like one of the elements I liked about One Championship was that not everyone had to wear the same thing and barely get any money from it, the way UFC have done with Reebok and Venom. So it's good for one that I'm sure they get a lot of money out of it. Anyway, let's kick on and do another fight. So Noiri, Masaaki Noiri, breaking Shakir Al-Takriti's leg. What was funny, Kyle? Well, not funny for the Takriti, I'm sorry. I messaged him after, and he's doing okay. But the first one, you can see he was chopping that left lead leg, right? And I thought it was the same leg that he snapped, but it's the right one. Mehdi was telling me after that, he told him in between the rounds to switch stances. So he went onto the right leg, and then Noiri busted that one up with one kick or something. So he destroyed both of this guy's legs. I don't think I've ever seen that. What did you make of it?
I'm pretty sure they were arguing about it on commentary, because they were talking about, I don't remember, it was either I think it might have been Rich that maybe mentioned, no, it was the other leg that went, and the other commentators were like, are you sure? Because it just didn't seem like fathomable that he could do that much damage to one leg and then end up breaking the other one, in the space of such a short space of time. Like the fight, maybe if the fight goes 5 rounds, you'd expect that kind of damage, but yeah, it seems like there was nothing that was going to stop Noiri from winning, even switching leg. He's like, fine, I'll take the other one if you insist. Like, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, very powerful indeed. Those leg kicks definitely got his mojo back. You could see what it meant to him, the celebration, letting out a roar of approval. I have just published my interview with him on my channel here, and I don't know if they've published it yet, but I sent Bangkok Post an article, and in that interview, we talked about, what he went through after the back-to-back losses. He said it's the lowest point of his career, but he feels like he's ready to show everyone the real Masaaki Noiri now. And he also said, I asked him, are you going to be on 1172? And he laughed, smiled, and said, yes, I will be. So he didn't give any other info than that, but is there anyone you'd like to see him face, Kyle, possibly in Japan? Some people are saying Tawanchai, but, I'm not sure how that would go, to be honest, but I'm sure there's plenty of fights. Is there anything you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to steal the suggestion from, well, I suppose kind of his suggestion from Tetsuya. I saw he put a poll out asking people this, and I think pretty clearly the winner that people voted for was Gregorian, which I love that fight. That would be so much fun in Japan. I think that it's a good next option. It's a great fight. It would be I'm sure the fans in Japan will absolutely love that. To get Gregorian on that card, I think would make a lot of sense as well. So that sounds like an absolute banger. That would be fantastic. I do think maybe, is it a little bit too much to go from, considering what you've just said about Noiri and the difficult time he went through, for him to get one win and then go straight in with Gregorian? Maybe maybe that's another fight away. But I think with Japan being this close, it's like you want to give Noiri something big to do on that card, and so maybe that is the option.
I don't know. I'd be tempted to give him another layup, to be honest, because I wouldn't want him to get murdered. I think Gregorian probably beats him. And maybe you could do the Sidichai rematch, and maybe that result goes differently this time, especially in his home country. Who else? I don't know who was on Tetsuya's poll. I did see it, but I've forgotten now. You could do the Liu Meng Yang rematch, maybe. That might also make sense. I think just try and get him a win is key. Gregorian seems like a massive risk to me, but anyway, yeah, that was good. Nice win for him. He was with Yuki Yoza in the back. Yuki cornered him as well, and I asked Yuki, "Are you going to come to One Championship?" And he said yes. So sounds like he will be joining Noiri in one. You love to see it. I'm going to roll on to Estupinan, the other Estupinan, Johan and Johan Ghazali traded knockdowns in the first and second rounds. And then Johan Estupinan got the unanimous decision. I mean, just looking back at these knockdowns, Kyle, my thought watching the fight was Estupinan's knockdown did a lot more damage than than Ghazali's. I'm going to have to just call them by their surnames here. And I think the decision was right. I'm not sure many people were calling it wrong. How did you see it?
Yeah, I thought that, the third round I thought was pretty clear for Estupinan. So, like you said, not only was his significant moment with that knockdown a lot more impactful, but I felt like the third round, that it seemed like that knockdown against Ghazali really was the turning moment. And from there, I kind of felt like Ghazali was like, he was chasing the fight, and I think maybe a little bit too much. I felt like it was still there for him in that third round, potentially, if he could get back to what he was doing. I thought he started the fight really well, and then it just gradually went Estupinan's way over time. But like you said, it's crazy watching both him and his brother. But when Estupinan lands, it's like completely different to when his opponents land. It just seems like he's at such a physical advantage over these guys that you can't trade with him. You've got to outland him. Otherwise, if you're going 1-for-1, he's going to win it every time. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I think Ghazali looked a lot better in this fight, though, from anything I've seen from him before. Obviously, he's learned a lot in this 3-month training camp out at Superbon's gym. I think if he takes what he's learned here and keeps going, I think he could be very good in a year or two. Because he's a bit of a brawler, I've always thought, but now he seems like a technical brawler, which could be a very dangerous mixture for the division. And he was far from outclassed here, and I kind of was worried that he would, we'd have another situation like the one with the Vietnamese guy Nguyen last June at the same venue that Nguyen Tran Doi Nhat, he just looked so bad in that fight, and Nguyen is good, but not that great. I think, no disrespect to him, he's very good, but he's not, elite by any means. But I think he looked very good here, very improved. So looking forward to seeing Jojo back again. The Battle of the Johans settled in Estupinan's favor. I don't know if you want to say anything else about it, Kyle, or I move on.
No, I agree with everything you said. I think that for Ghazali, there's a lot that he can take from the first round in particular. I think, like you said, it does seem like his style is maturing a bit. The third round, I felt like he went back to what cost him in that fight against Nguyen Tran Doi Nhat. I felt like he was kind of chasing Estupinan around without having much of a plan. It felt a little bit reckless, and Estupinan is just too good to let that, to let the fight slip away from him at that point. So I thought that whilst it was a loss for Ghazali, there was encouraging signs still to take from it.
Agreed. And I had a fun interview with them. Go watch it later. Everyone, it was chaos as usual with the twins. They're very fun. I like these guys. They give good interviews. I saw them in 7-Eleven afterwards as well. They're just so full of energy and life. Love these guys. I asked them, who are you better than the Rutolo twins now? Are you the best twins in one? And they said, no, not yet, because those guys have titles, but we will have the belt soon. So I don't know how they're going to do it, how they're going to divvy up. Presumably, one would have to go to a different division or something. So I'm not sure what would be easiest that way, but yeah, I'm pretty sure one of them, if not both, will have gold in their time in one championship. Chatri loves them as well. They're good fun to be around. The Diamond is back. Story to Fight. Happy to see you, Kyle. And Story to Fight also likes the new thumbnails. Yes, I stumbled upon those last week while doing CapCut. Didn't realize you can make these covers with AI on CapCut. It's super easy. And I found a good one that seems to be something people like. So very, very good. Very nice upgrade. All right, we're going to move on to the next fight that I have. I may have missed the grappling at some point here. I don't have any footage of it because I was upstairs doing an interview. So when was the grappling? Garcia. Yeah, I've skipped a couple.
After Noiri, right?
Oh yeah, so we can discuss these quickly. I'm gonna switch to the one results page. So yeah, Garcia and Masakazu Imanari. Be honest, I didn't really see it. I saw the finish. Was it a north-south choke or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head now.
Yeah, well, happy for Marcelo. Emotional comeback for him. I think 13 years after he last competed, he obviously went through cancer the last couple of years. I think inspirational figure. I then we spoke to him at the press con. Chatri was very, very high on him, and I think he'll be grappling Shinya next. I don't have too much else to say about it because I did miss it, as I said. Abevi and Samat Mamedov, I also missed. I seen the finish, Kyle, and it just looks a little weird to me. I can't figure out how Abevi won, but what could you see? I guess you were watching it on screen, right?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if that helped. The whole thing was pretty confusing when it happened. I don't know if they later clarified on commentary what had happened, but in the immediate aftermath, they were just as confused as everyone else was as to what had happened, why he had tapped. So I don't know. I still don't know what happened. I assume they explained it at some point during the broadcast, but I had the commentary kind of on and off, so I didn't catch that. But yeah, it was strange.
Yeah, very strange. I heard people laughing as well. Sort of, I think I was in an interview room, and we're in one of those VIP boxes where they black out, but you can still hear the crowd. And I heard people laughing, like they thought the finish was funny or something. But either way, another win for Maurice Abevi. He's starting to get on a roll in one championship, becoming a bit of a contender now at lightweight. Although he's struggled to make weight, I think he barely made it in Denver. But the fight was cancelled anyway because Mamedov was injured. And then I thought he was going to do the smart thing. He told us afterwards he was going to go with condition nutrition for his next fight, but he did not. And then he missed hydration. Come on, guys, get it together. Ben Royal, his crew, you gotta go out to Pete. The piss master will sort Maurice out. But no, in all seriousness, I think that I thought it was a very good performance from what I can tell. I thought Mamedov he looked like a tough opponent, completely jacked. Story of Fight says the knee smashed his nose and he was just done. So maybe he was in pain. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, impressed by Abevi, Kyle. He's now, I know he's lost to Halil Amir. I think that's his only loss in one.
Yeah, I think so, right? Did he?
Yeah, he's had 4 fights. He lost on debut to Halil Amir. I've just brought it up here, but he's beaten Blake Cooper, Zhang Lipeng, which is a good win, and Samat Memedov. So people have got title shots in one for less wins than that. So if Christian Lee needs another contender soon, I could see a Bevy maybe getting it. But he's maybe got to go through. I don't know what happens with Rasulov and Christian Lee again, but I could see Maurice one day, being a challenger for the belt. I like him, nice guy. Saw him wandering around in Tonglaw on Saturday, was it? I was at the Commons, which is a very hip place. All the bourgeois people go for their lunch, and ran into him, said hello, said I'd love to get him on the podcast. He said he would do it, so I messaged him earlier. He did not reply. We'll see if we can get him on Wednesday. All right. I will move on again. Back to my Instagram where I have footage again. Those are the only two fights that I missed. Okay. What do we got? What do we got? Al Pacino. You know that one, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course.
I think it's... Wait, is it from Heat or what do you got?
I think it's Heat, right?
Yeah, Heat.
I used to have a Heat poster until I got these UFC ones. So I got replaced.
Love it. All right. Sinsumet gets a first round TKO against Nazet Trujillo with 3 knockdowns. Very impressive performance, I thought, by Sinsumet. He said to me before the fight, and I wasn't sure how serious he was, but he said, if I lose this fight, I think I'm going to retire, because he's obviously had a tough time of late. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think it was 3 losses in his last 4. But Kyle, it was some redemption for Aquaman. He looked very good this time. I thought, Mehdi. We'll get to Mehdi later, but this was, a clear Mehdi master plan. Mehdi had a good night. Other than Shakir Al-Takridi, he had 3 huge wins on this card. So I do think Mehdi is just very good at coming up with a plan to defeat whatever. And now that he looked pretty good when I saw him against Liam Nolan. Totally outclassed here, right, Carl?
Yeah, I expected it to be kind of similar to the Liam Nolan fight. I thought it was going to be quite a frustrating night for Sinsumet. And just didn't really see it going this way for him. I obviously needed the win massively. And was able to go out there and get the first round finish. Like it really couldn't have gone much better for him. It seemed like it was just one of those nights where everything went according to plan for him, and it feels like it's been quite some time since we've been able to say that about Sinsumet in terms of just not really have anything negative to say. But, it was a good night at the office for him, and like you said, and for the team as a whole, apart from the Takriti loss.
Yeah, it was superb. Sinsumet, it was 2 losses. He was coming off 2 losses going into this. So, yeah, he may have been being dramatic when he said he was going to retire, but I'm glad he didn't retire, because I still think he's got a lot to offer, and I still think one day he can get back to the belt. And, he was winning that fight against Menchikov until he wasn't, right? Menchikov just caught him with a body shot in the 3rd, I think it was. He was 2 rounds up, and I think Mehdi was really pissed off at him after that, because he said he didn't follow the plan. He followed the plan here to perfection. Well done, Sinsumet. $50,000 bonus as well for him. Well deserved. Combat Sports Today with some news here saying Marat's coach says his next fight will be in Japan, Instagram. So maybe it is Marat against Noiri. I don't know. I got a feeling I don't know, because Superbon was knocked out pretty bad. Could you do Superbon versus Marat for the kickboxing bout? I did ask Chachi a couple times at that post event. Well, no, I didn't ask twice. I asked once, and then someone else asked, whether he's going to do the Superbon versus Tawanchai for kickboxing belt next, and he kind of evaded the question, just didn't really answer it. But I don't know. What would you do, Kyle? Superbon versus Marat versus Noiri?
I think maybe I would say Superbon probably deserves a little bit of time off. To maybe come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just seems a little bit too much, especially a guy like Murat, who is going to be so hard to get out of there, that's probably going to be another hard 5 rounds, which is going to be grueling for him. And I don't think, as much as, Murat won his last fight, it wasn't, particularly, a lot of people expected him to win, and the fight was a little bit of a mess for the most part. So I'm not, after that win, I'm not clamoring for Murat to go straight back in. At the same time, I agree with you that whilst the Noiri fight, I think, is a lot of fun, it would be a lot more exciting if Noiri is able to get some momentum first, rather than it feeling like we're jumping the gun a little bit. I can see them doing it for Japan just because it's a big fight for Noiri and it gets Murat on the card as well. But yeah, I don't mind if we don't see Superbon for a little bit, honestly, because I'm not clamoring to see the Gregorian fight straight away. And I think there's other stuff that Tawanchai can do as well, so I don't necessarily need to see them fight each other again so soon. So I don't think there's any harm in keeping Superbon, on the shelf for a little bit, giving him some time.
Anonymous asks, will Superbon keep the same energy for Chingers? Well, yeah, this was fun. So that kind of blew up in fight week. I asked Superbon about Chingers in a pre-fight interview, and he went off on Chingers. And I thought, he maybe would have said, I'm focused on Tawanchai. I'll talk about it after the fight. But he went in, and Chingers was pissed. Chingers was messaging me as well. He was irate. He was saying, he's going to fight Superbon in the street. I think if he sees him on the streets of Bangkok, he would throw down with Superbon. He told me to tell Superbon that. I said, yeah, okay. Maybe after the fight if he wins. But yeah, was it a bit of a mistake, Kyle, for Superbon to focus on that? Did he take his eye off the ball slightly by even thinking about that? Tawanchai, you got to be 100% focused on.
It just caught me off guard. It just seemed like a very un-Superbon like thing to do. And there's part of me that wants to get carried away and go, well, this really got to Chingers. Maybe I don't think that anything is going to lead to Chingers coming back. Like he has money, and when a man that has that much money says that he'll fight you on the street for free, I would stop saying his name. But yeah, I don't know. It just seemed weird. I don't know if it would have, maybe taken away from Superbon in the fight, maybe, because I feel like it's probably something he's thought about a lot for some time, rather than it being, I think it's just more. It felt more like a spur of the moment thing rather than something that was distracting him. But it did come out of left field, and the Chingers reaction was certainly fun to talk about during fight week.
Yep. Chingers, he's such a funny guy. He just leaves these insane voice messages and oh man. All right. Well, yeah, I'm the same as you, Carl. I don't think Chingers will come back to one. I think Superbon was just trying to goad him into coming back, and I don't think it has worked or will work. So I think there's something going on that people don't really realize, and Chingers has kind of hinted at it to me, whether it's like an injury problem he has or something which is holding him back. So who knows? He may come back. It might be a health issue if he can get over this. He's still very young. I think 31 years old or something like that. Never say never. All right. What is this one? Vampire Kuyate TKO's Joe Nautilus in the first round. Yes, this went down like a lead balloon at Impact Arena. Kyle, they were not happy. Joe is their hero. And he got outclassed, smashed up by Bambi. I was not expecting this. I thought Vampiro might have a good chance of winning. You just never know what Joe's going to show up. Is it going to be that wild Joe we saw push Tawanchai to the limit twice? Or is it that one that just gets caught early by Superbon? Or is it that one who went toe-to-toe with Luke Lisi? That fight was so fun as well. What do you think, Kyle? Is Joe's time done at the top?
I don't want it to be, but this did enter my brain as well afterwards. It is one thing being stopped by Superbon, and you go, okay, you've been stopped by Superbon. It happens. But I also didn't expect this to happen, despite being impressed by Bampara Kiyate in his previous performances in one. But this looked like a totally different fight than I was expecting. This looked like a fight between them potentially happening, years down the line. Even it seemed like both guys' levels went drastically up and down from the last couple of times that we've seen them. I feel for Smoking Joe because he had the rematch with Tawanchai booked, and then it got changed to Superbon, and then he loses that fight, and then he loses this fight in the space of like 2 months. And now I don't know where he is in this division. He's gone from being in another title fight when a lot of people thought he won the last one to I don't know where he is now. And on the flip side of that, Bampara Kiyate is a guy that I'm like, I'm happy if they put him in with Tawanchai. I want to see it now. He's just done that to Joe, who went tooth and nail with Tawanchai on 2 occasions. Sign me up.
Yeah, he's very good, very impressive, very tall, very lean. I think Mehdi really rates him, Anonymous suggesting, yeah, maybe Bambi should fight Tawanchai in Japan. Both of them took minimal damage, should be easy turnaround. That could be a great one for Tawanchai. I think sounds like they want to have Tawanchai in Japan. I think it was Tetsuya posted a clip from the behind the scenes vlog that one did. I don't watch the one behind the scenes because I got my own one. You know what I mean? Don't need to see theirs, which is much better and has way more access. Yeah, I saw Katsui seemed to mouth the word Tokyo to him or something, and I think kickboxing is the insinuation. So why not? I'd be down for that. Story of the fight says the wars might have caught up with Joe. That could also be correct. Drink Water says, I think Joe has been the same since he joined, just took a few to warm up after a long break. Yeah, he's kind of been up and down. I'd kind of forgotten about Joe until he had that crazy kickboxing fight with Tawanchai. And then he was even more incredible when he fought Luke. And then he had the rematch with Tawanchai, and a lot of people thought he won. So I guess the shine's kind of been taken off him now, which sucks. But Tetsuya suggests booking him against Cody Jerome. Don't feed him to killers anymore. Just let him win and be a hero for the Thai fans. You like that fight, Kyle? Yeah, that makes sense for me.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see either a newer opponent in one or someone a little bit below this current level he's been fighting at, and also some time off. The turnaround from that Superbon loss to this, to then get stopped again in the first round, like I love watching Joe now, but let's let him have some time. I think because if he doesn't ever recapture that same feeling that the fans had around him last year, where it's like, oh my god, Joe Natwood might be the champion in waiting, it would be disappointing, and I obviously don't want to see him go out on a bunch of losses. So some time off and a step down, I think, is the right move.
He's kind of the inverse of everyone, where most fighters hate fighting in the morning. They perform worse, but he seems to perform better on these morning cards. I think the Luke fight was in the morning. Both Tawanchai fights were in mornings. Maybe it's something to do because I think he lives in America, right? So it might be easier for him to do a primetime US fight. He can stay on that body clock. I don't know whether coming out here just messes up with him fighting in the night. His body's probably half asleep. I don't know how long he was out there this time. That's my theory.
He does tend to build very well in fights, so maybe the fact that the preparation isn't ideal with having to fight so early in the morning helps. Because that's 2 first round losses, and the fight, the rematch with Tawanchai at 1167. I didn't think that he started the fight particularly well, and then suddenly the coin flips, and you're like, well, Joe Natwood might have won these last 3 rounds to win the belt, so maybe that's part of it.
Yes, good point. Story of the fight says they went massive shots and he was never out. He just couldn't stay upright. That's never a good sign. Kind of like what Liam Harrison was talking about after his Sexan fight. Also a good point. Tristan looks different, says the Shandy. Yes, indeed. Joe versus Sidichai, battle of who's less washed. Oh my days. Just imagine if Cody Jerome beats Joe. Yeah, Cody. I wonder what they do with Cody. That was a bad loss to Luke. I do think that he's better than that, and I think he'll be back. Yeah, the Joe might be a good fight for him. If you say if Joe's on the come down, this would be a good test for both guys. So let's see if you get a win over Smoking Joe. I think that still means a lot. Could help propel Cody back up. All right. Flaming Mo says here, I just came here to say bonus justice for Kuyata. Yes, I didn't mention that, but he didn't get a bonus, Kyle. Absolutely robbed of a bonus, says Anonymous. Were you surprised? I was stunned. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that the Impact Arena would have been too into it, but when
That's it.
the guy goes out there and does that, I don't feel like there's any way to justify him not getting one. Especially when Sinsmut just got one, and that was an impressive performance and a big win. But we're talking about Joe Natwood, who was the top contender in this division a couple of months ago. So yeah, that's crazy. But
yeah, I think it may have Chachi may have felt it would piss off the crowd or whatever, but you could still go and give him something behind the scenes if that's the case. I think he deserved it, or do a retrospective bonus. I do think he deserves it. He's had 2 good knockouts now in a row over Luke, Lucy, and Joe. And yeah, realistically, I think he's up to number 3 now in the rankings. So a bit of a robbery. I'm going to agree. He took it in good spirits. Though I saw him at the hotel. He was still happy he won. I think he cares more about just the wins. He wants to get the belt. I think he's got money. He's a model, so it's fine. Right. Anonymous says, I better see Vampire rank number 2 when the shadowing ranking panel convenes. Yeah, I can't remember where I put him on my rankings. Maybe it's number 2.
I think I had him.
We're both on the panel, yeah.
Yeah, we are 2 members of the shadowy ranking panel.
We are the shadow. What do they call it in America?
I would say
like the deep state. We're the deep state of the one judging panel, rankings panel. All right. Normal Bon, a good nickname. I can't remember what I put. I'll have to see the rankings in the end. Vegan Crane, yes. Mentioning Mini T. Did you see that, Kyle? Daniel Williams' car wreck?
No, I missed this.
All right, we'll take a quick detour from these fights to show Daniel Williams nearly died in a car wreck. He was in a coma for days. He had to learn to walk again and eat again. Crazy. Here's the update. Yes, 3 weeks ago I was airlifted to the hospital after crashing my car in the bush. Scary shit. The crash was brutal. I lost a few days, came to after surgery. Can you imagine how horrifying it would have been for my loved ones? Yeah, recovery's been humbling. Relearning to walk, eat, fit, and do the basics after being so fit and healthy has been a trip. The pain has been unreal, but so is the gratitude, I guess. Changed my perspective. Yeah, madness. Look at the car. Oof. Yeah, here he is. He's doing rehab, walking. It's crazy. I hope he's okay. Yeah. Seems in good spirits though. But yeah, we all wish Daniel the best. You never like to see anything like that. Just glad he's alive, to be honest. That could have been a lot worse. Moving on though. Sexan. I didn't take any footage of this one, but what do you think, Kyle? I rewatched this fight later. Yeah, no problems with the decision. I was expecting a bit more excitement, but both guys are just so tough, right? To drop. I wasn't surprised there were no knockdowns or anything.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those fights where there isn't a ton of concern. I think that you're not going to get, the fight that you want it to be. It's one of those ones that what you picture in your head is probably what is going to happen. And that's what we got. The crowd was into it. Seemed like a lot of fun, and I think it was a good little slot to put this in before 3 title fights. In the end, the title fights all ended via finish, so it didn't really matter that you could potentially have long stretches of fights and things like that. So I think it was well placed, and it ended up just continuing this run that we had on this card with the finishes from Sinsma and Kiyate as well. It felt like non-stop highlights. And whilst this one went the distance, it was still really fun. And like you said, both guys so durable. That yeah, I feel like it was quite nailed on that we were going to get a decision, and I think Sexan winning was the clear option at the end.
You can see on the video that Haggerty's crew had like their own VIP section here, right in front of the media seats. They had 2 rows of chairs for the whole squad, so we were a little further back than usual. So damn you guys! No, I think the show, there was such high demand for it, they had to like make extra space. Understand it. Normally, yeah, we're a couple rows closer. But you can see big Christian Knowles there, John's mom as well. One thing was funny. When Nico Carrillo got knocked down, the first knockdown, they all jumped up cheering because those guys hate each other, right? Nico's been talking so much shit on Haggerty. So they were loving that. I remember, I think it was John's dad just leaping in the air. Anyway, yeah, Sexan, another win for the man who yields to no one against the man of steel. Not much else to say about it. He wobbled him though. I can't remember which round, so that was impressive. This was the best card of the year, easily. Shandy says best one card in a long time. Anonymous says Sexan and Solinu looked like a bar fight. Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but it ticked the boxes. It was okay. I think, yeah, my only qualm with this whole card, and maybe I'll get into it a bit later at the end, was I just felt it had everything apart from one barn burner that went the distance, a fight of the night kind of thing. It was hard for me to pick a fight of the night because a lot of the best fights were finishes, if that makes sense. This one and maybe the Estupinan to win his fights, yeah, obviously they went the distance, but I don't think they were incredible, mind-blowing fights you'll remember forever. So that'd be my only qualm with the card, and people saying it's the best card in a long time. I think it still is. It's just missing that one thing for me. Anyway, did you see the side-by-side pic of Nico and Haggerty on the floor holding their heads? Yeah, I did. It's the fight game. I don't think we should troll people either. Chatri was talking about the post-fight presser. He was asking why all the Thai fans so horrible to their own fighters. It is true. I don't know why they do it. Okay. Anonymous says the grappling match and Sexan were my least 2 favorites. Agreed. I think, they were fine, though. They were still fine. Didn't take away from the card. All right. Sorry, just holding back a burp there. Don't want to do it live on air. Right, let's go. Now it's Nico time. Yeah, holy hell. As I said, Nabil just put it on Nico Carrillo. 3 knockdowns. First round TKO. And new interim bantamweight Muay Thai champion. Simply stunning. Ends Carrillo's 15-fight win streak. Look at that head kick. Wow, for the second knockdown. I knew it was pretty much over after that one. Nabil just swarmed him. Nico was just already done. Kyle, immediate reaction to that. I imagine you were shocked.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? Like, of course, I've been so impressed by Nabil since moving up to bantamweight, but I thought Nico would be a really tough test for him at this stage in his career. I just felt like Nico was further along than Nabil. But again, to give partial credit to his team for this one, because I think they took the few vulnerabilities we've seen from Nico and exploited them perfectly with Nabil's style. Just picking the shots so well whilst waiting for Nico to choose how he was going to engage. It was just, yeah, I was floored by this performance. Like the two title fights that we're going to speak about next, great performances as well. And we'll talk about the main event. I think it was a beautiful moment for Tawanchai after what happened at 1167. But I think Nabil was the star of this show. It was like, we've been talking about him being the future, but he's the present. And for this to then lead to a rematch with Superlek is just, I mean, you couldn't write it. That's like storybook ending for this chapter of Nabil's career.
Yeah, I thought Nabil came off as a real star on the night. He's so young. I think he connects with the younger audience, and he has a really unique look, a unique style. The new Diesel noise, everyone says. I just think he's cool. He's a cool guy, and people like him. He's very genuine, good guy too. Very humble. I think this was perfect for him. His biggest win by far, biggest showcase. It's going to propel him into superstar territory, I think. Win or lose against Superlek. Nabil, I think, is now going to be one of the faces of the company. The Nabil head kick, I almost jumped out of my window, Shandy says. Poof. Yeah, it was stunning. Nico needed this to learn, not just to lean back as his only defense. Story to fight says. Yeah, agreed. Do you think, Live Bread says, do you think Nico had hydration issues and in his top condition, or he just lose fair and square to Nabil? A bit of both. I do think, yeah, the weight cut killed him. He was bad. His feet, his legs were heavy in there. He looked terrible on the day of the weight cut, the day before the day of the weigh-in, the day before the weigh-in, the day after the weigh-in. I saw him. He just looked so bad. And we all know he cuts a lot of weight. And he jokes. Everyone calls him the weight bully. He jokes about it, but I think, yeah, there was going to come a time where he just couldn't make the weight anymore, and I think this has fast tracked that. I think if he had won, he would have gone and done the Superlek fight. Then maybe win or lose, yeah, would have moved up to featherweight anyway. There just comes a point, Kyle, when you can't make the weight anymore, right? It's just genetics, and it's not about an age thing of like, oh, he's going to grow more. He's 24 already. Obviously not going to grow. It's just your body can't do those things after you've done it 10, 15 times already, right?
Yeah, I think it's also like you've put yourself through this much to compete at bantamweight. It hasn't worked out. This is as good of a time as any. If you're putting yourself through hell to make bantamweight, but you somehow keep winning by knockout, even when you have tough fights, he always was finding a way. As soon as that doesn't work anymore, it's like, you might as well go up. It seems like the right thing to do at this point. He already posted right on social media to say that that's what he's going to do next is featherweight from here on out. So I think it's the smart thing to do. And it's interesting to see how that changes his game, because I think that, obviously Nabil's incredibly unique in terms of his frame, but I think that there will be a lot of people at featherweight looking at what Nabil did and going, well, I'm probably going to be bigger than Nico. I think I could probably do that as well. So it's interesting. It's an interesting challenge for him. And I'm sure that he's still going to be incredibly dangerous at featherweight. But yeah, interesting to see what's next for Nico.
Story of the fight, and Anonymous saying, yeah, Freddy was awesome in the third round. I agree. Terminator. He went Terminator mode, says Story of the fight. Super Saiyan as well. Yeah, with Nico, the thing is, though, I think there's a reason he's been cutting down to bantamweight, because he knows his power is his advantage, right? He's not got the technique of the top guys at bantamweight, as we've just seen here, and I think we probably would have seen with Superlek. If he goes up to 155, I feel he may struggle against the top guys. I still think your Tawanchais, will have more technique, and I think Nabil exposed a few things there, which I wonder if Nico needs to do more than just go up a division. Is that the only answer? Does he need to fix some holes? As people were saying, the lean back doesn't work against the guy who's bigger than you. And Nico is normally the bigger guy in the ring. But no one's going to be bigger than Nabil. So there it is. I think I'm not sure how Nico does at featherweight, to be honest. Shandy says his boxing defense was poor. Story of the fight says the first knockdown came from him being hit while at the end of a lean back. I hope he doesn't just blame this on the weight. Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? Exactly. Because this will get you dropped even with the best cut. Crazy idea. Nico versus Shadow. Shadow wins then. Boom contract right now. Right then and there, says NG. I think Shadow would. This is the thing. Yeah. I'm sure Nico's power is going to be still a huge factor up there. And you'd imagine he'll be stronger if he's fresher. But the technique, yeah. Let's see. Height bullying meta has made its way to the men's division. Anonymous says. We all went nuts at the arena. Chummy Boy says, yes. It was a good atmosphere. The crowd loved it. Nico's defense is his offense, NG says, but when he can't use his offense, he is a little clueless. I'm sure he is used to being the taller and bigger fighter. It takes an anomaly like Nabil to make him change. Yes. So, Kyle, you think he's got to change a few things? You agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that he's won at bantamweight is probably not going to work against most people he comes up against at featherweight. I think it's an interesting thing if he can change that, because he is so explosive and powerful that if he is able to translate that up at featherweight and use it to close distance on people rather than being the bully, then I think that's an interesting, it's definitely something I want to see. I probably didn't expect it to happen this soon, but yeah, I agree that Nabil definitely showed some things in that fight that we probably would have found out sooner rather than later, with Superlet being the next opponent. I'm sure Superlet would have seen those exact same things and tried to exploit them. So yeah, it's like I say, it's interesting to see what Nico does from here and what featherweight Nico looks like, because we're so used to seeing him have such a physical advantage at bantamweight that he won't have anymore.
Yeah, a lot of people thought Nico would beat Superlek, but some people laughed at the idea, and you can see now why. Yes, I'm not sure it would have ended any better for Nico against Superlek, but let's see. Does he go away and make the adjustments? JP's a smart coach. I'm sure they won't be blind to the mistakes Nico made, but that was Nico kind of 20%. I think he was drained of all energy, mentally and physically. He said, he had brain fog, couldn't move his legs. So maybe he would have been better against Nabil if he had not had such a bad cut. But coulda, woulda, shoulda. We'll see how he does with a fresher cut. All right, Chummy Boy says, I just saw Panpayak also going to go down in weight next to Long O. Do you think it's better for him? Yeah, I wonder now if Panpayak is just, especially off that layoff, too small. The division's changed since he was around. There's a lot of, especially on Friday fights, he could probably, ironically, Kyle, I think he could still cut it in one championship at flyweight, but in Friday fights, the guys are so gigantic, right? Especially these big Russians, and if anything, I think if he's staying on Friday fights, I'd definitely go down if I was him. That's my take. I don't know. Do you have a different opinion?
Yeah. I agree with what you say. The thing is if he then was put onto the main roster cards, I feel like they would still match him with big Europeans. So I think that the option is, figure out a way to face less of these guys that just have a huge physical advantage. So if he can make that weight safely, then I think it's the right thing to do. He's a great technical fighter. Let the skills do the talking rather than being beaten by bigger guys.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the last couple of fights. Fabricio Andrade against Kwon Won Il. Yeah, this was just I don't know. I was expecting more. I thought Kwon would do better, but Fabricio melted him in 42 seconds. Body shots again. nothing changed. I feel like, yeah, it's a shame for Kwon because he's improved a lot since that fight. I was surprised. Were you a bit surprised by his game plan, Kyle? He just came forward a lot, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine that Fabricio is, he is such a smart striker that I imagine he is incredibly difficult to read, and it kind of seemed like, I have spoken so much and put out so many articles where Fabricio talks about wanting to go into the later rounds and wanting to give himself a bit more time to do things. And I don't know whether that was him, playing a little bit of mind games to throw Kwon off, but yeah, I don't want to throw out that it was almost like he froze a little bit, but I do think he waited. I think he was waiting to see what Fabricio was going to do a little bit, and I mean, that didn't work out last time, and it didn't work out this time either.
No, I don't have much else to say. There isn't much else to say about the fight other than Fabricio, looked incredible, and the Shandy raises the point that I really want to talk about is what do you do next with Andrade? Because there is no one really. There's Lineker, but he's beaten him. Well, I feel like he's beaten him twice. Obviously, one was a no contest, but he was beating him up before the low blow. The second one was pretty decisive. Lineker's doing Muay Thai as well now. Other than that, it's like Lohman maybe, but he's been out for a while. And then it's slim pickings really, and you could maybe do Bibiano versus Andrade if Bibi beats Bellingon, battle of former champs in Qatar, but Bellingon and Bibi have both been gone for ages, and they're kind of over the prime, well past their prime. So I don't think Andrade would have any trouble with them. My thought, Kyle, is do something. Let's do Haggerty. Come to MMA. That's the only intriguing thing for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that through doing the rankings after this event, the only thing that I think makes sense in terms of just Andrade taking on a bantamweight contender is Bataku. I think that's the only person, right? His only loss is to Artem Balak, who's no longer there. So I think that's the only name that's currently in the bantamweight division that makes sense. Outside of that, I think you've got to do something that isn't, like you said, like a Haggerty or him going up a weight, or you've got to do something to freshen it up. Because I don't want to see the Lineker fight again. Like you said, Lohman lost to Lineker and hasn't fought since. It's just, yeah. The of all the rankings updates so far, bantamweight was the one where I was like, we could do with a couple names in here.
Yeah, well, they asked for a number 5 because it was empty, right? And I think they suggested Jeremy Pakatu. Yeah, Ibrahim Dayev, who's fighting next week and has one win in one and about a year ago. And then Bibiano. I think I went for Bibiano just because of his status as the former champ, even though he's lost his last couple and been gone for a year and a half. So I would probably put Bibiano. I don't know what you did. Did you choose anyone?
I think I went Jeremy purely because the last time he fought, he was in the win column. I was like, that will earn you a number 5 spot in this bantamweight division right now, even if it was like a year ago at this point.
Yeah, I think either way, they need to build up some contenders in that division. The Mongolian caveman, Combat Sports Today, wants to see Enk Orgel as well. Sorry, the fight says Kwon had issues being lit up at range in the first fight. I wonder if he wanted to push the envelope, get past the range early. Chester says, yeah, give him the Star Wars character next. Alive Bread, why hasn't Kulabdam gotten his contract yet? I don't remember seeing it during his post-fight. He literally fought 4 contract fighters straight without having a contract. I might be wrong, but I think he would have got the contract for fighting Lineker on a fight night card. So he may have got the contract quietly, which if he did, I think that's more than well deserved, as you say, Alive Fred, given he's fought 4 contracted fighters. I don't know though. So we'll see. But I think he's got it. What was it, a fight night or was it a Friday fight that he fought Lineker?
No, it was the the one earlier this month, wasn't it, with Abdulayev and Tankai? It was on that card, right?
Yeah, it was a morning one. So yeah, it was a fight night. Yeah, so I think he's probably got a contract already. I hope so. Right. Yes, Bibiano left, but he's back now. He's gonna fight in Qatar next month. Okay. Let's do the final fight while we're here. It is. Well, I'll just show my clip of Nabil celebrating. He was very gracious in defeat with Nico. I like to see they've been very respectful to each other. Sorry, we already moved on past that, but I just like this clip of Nabil walking backstage. He's just got something about him. He's got swag. He's cool. Good talker. He can be a good talker when the time is right. He's very respectful when the time is also right. Yeah, everything about him screams superstar to me. There it is. Yeah, you can have some sponsors on the shorts still, which is good. But yes, weird seeing Nabil in Fairtex. Given he's been at Venom since he was a child. Did you see that picture he posted of him as a kid? I can't remember what event it was. He did like a side by side. Maybe I could show it. Yeah, he posted. There's a picture of him where he's like at one event. I think it was Nongo versus someone years ago, and then yeah, there it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's a cool pic. That must have been, oh god, it's when one used to call the events those funny names like Clash of Kings and Dreams of Warriors. Let me try and put a date on that. Apology. No. I can't be bothered. Someone in the chat do it for me. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the main event. There it is. Okay, Tawanchai, PK, Suriyanlek, incredible, catches Superbon, TKOs him in the second round, and still featherweight Muay Thai champ. Crowd going nuts there, Kyle. Don't know if that translated across on the broadcast, but it was electric atmosphere. I loved the ring walk for Tawanchai from the Thai rapper Millie. Thought it added some extra production value, like a WrestleMania type feel. I hope one does more of these kind of things. If they have a big stadium show, why not? But yes, excellent from Tawanchai. Was patient in the first round, figured out Superbon's game plan, which was to counter his kicks, with punches. So second round, he caught one of the kicks from Superbon and just threw one straight down the pipe, knocked him back. And then Superbon, for me, you can see it here, catches him there. He's already on the back foot. Superbon is a sitting duck. If you catch his chin, he's in trouble anytime. We've seen it with Marat, saw it with Chingiz. And it takes an elite level fighter to get through that guard and get the chin. But Tawanchai is elite level. And these last two knockdowns, you can just see Superbon has no chance. If there had maybe been 10 seconds left in the round, he may have survived, may have been able to shake up the cobwebs on the stool. But I think it was still very early in that second round. And he was just there for the taking. Tawanchai swarmed. Matter of time, got him. Right. Thoughts, Kyle? Impressed by Tawanchai? I bet you were.
Yeah. I mean, I said this on a video that I put out. I know that they were filming the Russell Crowe movie, but the main event felt like the ending scene of a combat sports movie, where you have the opening of the Impact Arena last year and Tawanchai, the boos at the end and Tawanchai, I felt so bad for him in that moment. He seemed kind of lost, and the weight of the world was on his shoulders in that moment when it wasn't his fault, things like that. To come back to the same building and put on that performance against Superbon and the reaction, like you said, the energy in that arena, it definitely did translate. It really felt like him getting, I know that, he's had a lot of success in one championship, of course, but this really felt like the star that one championship want Tawanchai to be. It was like, this is him delivering on that, and also kind of stepping into his own light, because the 1167 event, it was him against Joe, and even the previous fight with Superbon, it felt very much like the two of them on this pedestal. I feel like this was the moment that Tawanchai needed to be like, really step out of that, and be the main event star that he clearly has been and will continue to be. But I think there were some question marks after those fights with Joe Natterwood. So literally couldn't have gone any better for Tawanchai. I mean, yeah, I thought it was genuinely an emotional send off to this card, seeing him get that moment and the fans just shower him with love after what happened last time he was there.
Yeah, some redemption. I'll show a bit of what Chatri said in the post fight. Said Tawanchai said, I remember the last fight against Joe, I went back and I was under a lot of pressure online. I didn't talk to anyone for weeks. It's safe to say I lost my fire back then after that fight. Chatri chimed in and said, these are our heroes. These are the people fighting for Thailand under the Thai flag. Why do we have to be so mean in the comments? I've never scolded anyone who lost. I've only encouraged them. Yeah, check out the story if you want to on Bangkok Post. If you want any of my written content, it's all up there. The link is in my bio on my Instagram account. You'd be doing me a favor. Go read my stories. It's some quality stuff. I would, if I say so myself. All right. Yes, Millie. I enjoyed Millie. Didn't know who she was before the show, but now I'm a fan. Right. I'm story of the fights. Reading of it. Superbon made good adjustments from the first fight, but there was a reason he didn't fight like that in his first one. Attacking on the kicks and not after. Played into Tawanchai's game. Dangerous. High risk, high reward. Second knockdown wasn't real. Superbon robbed. I feel like the fence saved him. Anyway, he would have fallen if there wasn't a fence. But there's no, you can't have any complaints. Right. Okay. Well, yes, that's the end of the card. The Beast in Me was also filmed. That was kind of fun to see. I thought the pacing of the show was really good, and that stuff gave everyone a bit of a break in between the fights, allowed them to go to the concession stand or what have you, the bathroom. I just thought it was an excellent show overall, paced out really well. It felt really cool to me. It felt like a big deal. It connected on a pop culture level. I think it was, very successful. This is biggest moment for me, Kyle, for one in a long time. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. In terms of, delivering on everything that they promise, I think that this was a very good representation of that. Not only just in terms of the fights being good, but also delivering multiple martial arts disciplines all under one card, all high level, all ended up being entertaining, which is kind of out of their hands to some degree, but it worked out on this occasion. Stars on the card, stars being made on this card as well. I don't think this night could have gone much better for one championship, and considering the events that they have coming up, that is so important. I know that both you and me are big pro wrestling fans, and momentum in pro wrestling is so important. When you do one thing right, the next thing that's right just seems to roll. I feel like, I really enjoyed. That's not to say that One Fight Night 27 that kicked off the card wasn't good. Kicked off the year wasn't good. I enjoyed that card too, but this was like a really big statement to nail this one with Qatar and Japan coming up soon. Yeah, great way for one championship to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, story of the fight liked it. Says one had a lot of new eyes on this card, new fans, and the movie industry. Absolutely knocked out the park for all of them. Deekers says keep the concerts short, please. I think it wasn't that long. The Millie song, it was fine. I thought it added something to it.
Yeah. Yes, if you watch the boxing cards in Saudi Arabia and stuff, those concerts go on for a long time.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Definitely. So, I agree with what you guys were saying. I think it's important now. Yeah, they deliver with the Qatar show, and then the Japan show, and then there's nothing in April as far as I know in terms of like a stadium show. There's penciled in something for May in the US. I'm hearing rumors of another big show at a stadium for the summer, but I think if one can get back to that, banging out one stadium show a month and having one fight night, Prime Video show a month, plus everything they've got going on with Friday fights, then that's just a great lineup. There won't be an issue of people having to wait 6-7 months for a fight or a year. I think everyone will have room to fight on these cards. But let's see, Kyle, because I'm not confident that the stadium shows will stay once a month. We had it last year, right? There was 3 at the beginning of the year, and then boom, it was gone. Didn't get another one till June, and then we got one in September, and then the Atlanta one was moved to Thailand, so it didn't really feel like an arena show. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's see. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up now. Kyle, anything for you to add? Where can people find you? It's there on his handle, right?
Yeah, I suppose just follow me on Twitter or X or whatever on there, and that's pretty much where I post whatever I'm up to, because it does tend to change quite a lot, or well, maybe it won't be changing that much starting Monday, but we'll see. And hopefully all things go to plan. I'll be back sometime in the near future to come and chat about one as the old days.
Yes, sir. Keep me posted on that. Would love to have you if you are able to do it. Otherwise, you're going to have to start a Bloody Elbow 1 podcast, and I'll have to jump on with you. We'll keep it going. Shandy's saying, what about Rich and Mitch arguing on commentary? I didn't hear that. I wasn't watching the broadcast. What was this? Were they arguing?
For a lot of the card, like not like in terms of the whole duration, but there was a lot of one of them says one thing and the other person disputes it, to the point where it did start to get a little bit like uncomfortable a little bit at points, because it wasn't just a disagreement of opinions. It was like, I don't remember who it was that said it, but one of them went out their way to say, like, you argue with me a lot more than the other people do. I think it was Mitch saying it about Rich and being like, you're not here for all of these cards. And you also argue with me a lot more than everyone else. It was just a little bit too like it I'm sure it was playful. It didn't sound too playful. It sounded a little bit more like a please stop arguing with me without just saying that. It was a little bit weird. It didn't distract from the fights because the fights were all fantastic, but it was a little bit weird.
Oof. Story of the Fight wants a 3-man booth. Sorry, says a 3-man booth is too much. Just do Ray and Mitch. I saw DJ was also on. Was it just for the Fabricio fight?
Yeah, I think he probably said, less than like 20 words because of how fast it ended. Yeah. So, it happens, but yeah.
Worth the flying him out for. Well, no, he did a meet and greet as well before the show, and I think he did some stuff in the Beast in Me film. So who doesn't love seeing DJ in any capacity? All right. I'm going to wrap it up there, guys, because I'm hitting that sweet spot, the 1.5 hours. Thank you to Kyle for joining me and saving me from doing this all on my own. It's always better to have someone to talk with. I am, obviously, you can see my handle there. If you don't follow me already, please do. We're back to work already this week. Got Friday Fights 95. It's quite a big card, Kyle, isn't it? Nabati, Ferrari, Kana is also fighting. Well, I'm sure you'll be watching as well.
Yeah, as always. Yeah, it's a sneakily good one. I completely forgot that this was like a slightly above average Friday Fights cards, which is not to say that they're not good.
I like it when they
good.
just throw a really big name on there every now and then. It happens. Okay. Yes. All right. I'll see you later, guys. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you all for watching. I'm planning on doing another show on Wednesday. Fingers crossed. So tune in back then. Thanks again. See you later.